Thanks so much for joining us today on Connect and Collaborate, where we bring you voices of leaders in collaboration in industry. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and Jeff Wasden, president of the Colorado Business Roundtable, is joining us today.
How are you, Tammy?
Great. How are you doing?
It is great to be here for What's Up with Wasden.
Yeah, what's up?
What's Up with Wasden?
Well, we just thought of that new title earlier, and it was a little more
that
enthusiastic
whole
the first time.
collaboration and, connect and collaborate. Who needs that? What's Up with Wasden sounds a whole lot more catchy.
Well, what is up, Wasden?
Well, you know what? We are so excited. We're weeks away and just a few tickets left. We probably will start to figure out how to put people in the rafters and and helping serve food for those that haven't purchased their tickets yet. But
yes, so
we've got
if you'd like a
collaboration
swing instead of a table, let us know.
Yeah, if you can balance some plates.
Sure.
Our Collaboration Industry Awards coming up, and we are so excited. We've got just an incredible opportunity to really celebrate some of Colorado's finest. And many people have seen my tagline year after year, the Henry Ford quote.
Right.
That really starts about coming together as a beginning, staying together as progress, working together as success. And when you kind of mirror that tagline with Gail's initial vision of the Sogasosha and collaboration and understanding that aligning everyone for a common good, to get people rowing together in the same direction is where you really gain the greatest multiplier. We're going to bring those recognized leaders together to really celebrate some of the successes in Colorado and how we really understand in the Colorado way and the way of the West, rolling up our sleeves, working together for the betterment of all. Taking that competition and cooperation into the co-opetition and really kind of blending how we continue to focus on your own individual needs, your company needs, your organization needs, but doing so in the greater framework and fabric of the Colorado ecosystem and how we continue to really drill into ensuring that Colorado is the best place to live, work, and play.
Right. Let's talk a little more specifically about the upcoming Collaboration and Industry Awards. This is the awards through the Colorado Business Roundtable. It's coming up Thursday, December 7th. It'll be at 11 o'clock at the Cable Center. And Jeff, tell us, well, first of all, we're honoring some finalists in 12 categories throughout the state.
Yeah, we really kind of have the idea.
Industry categories.
Industry categories, big tickets. We've really had this idea of 20x, the greater multiplier, the collaboration and working together. And we haven't talked a lot about that, but that's really the underlying theme. In business, everybody talks about a 3x, a 5x return.
Okay.
We really are trying to say that we can do better, that we can create greater multipliers by understanding the power of relationships, connectivity, and collaboration, and this idea that together the greater good can do more. It's interesting. Obviously, a lot of people know my sports background and using a lot of metaphors and cliches from the sports world. Casey Stengel had that one that said, hey, anyone can get good players. Getting them to play well together is the hard part.
Sure.
There's some great folks out there. There's some great associations, some great chambers, some great industry and business leaders. We talk about the ABCG, right? You got academia and business, community and government. What we're really trying to do is get everybody, again, on the same page, focusing on our efforts on how we make Colorado #1 in this country. So all Coloradans deserve and have an opportunity to do a successful, meaningful career, that opportunity. And so we've identified 12 areas, not quite 20, but 12 areas.
We can identify 20, but it seemed like a bit much.
Yeah, we could be there. Colorado's got 31 advanced industries, right, that they've identified. You could go on and on to multiple areas, but we've really focused on some of the key areas that the Colorado Business Roundtable has been involved in and really structured around our partnerships and collaboration where we're strongest, and certainly aerospace being one of those. We've got an incredible relationship with Citizens for Space Exploration. In the Colorado Space Business Roundtable, Jay Lindell, the Colorado Aerospace Champion from OEDIT, has been a frequent guest of this show. We have the upcoming space roundup,
right?
And then we're already working on the aerospace, not just day at the Capitol next year, but the aerospace week. So we're going to recognize some finalists in aerospace, education, workforce. One of the key issues of the Business Roundtable, one of the things that we focused on with our State Business Roundtable Exec Conference, the big Western Pathways Conference that we hosted. There's so many great institutions of higher ed, institutions around our K-12 system. Colorado Workforce Development Council has been an incredible partner of the COBRT. So we again want to recognize those. Energy, our role with Vital for Colorado. Peter Moore, who's been on this show twice a month, and talk about the importance of that particular industry to Colorado. Engineering, construction. Colorado is on an incredible growth curve right now. The crane watch from the DBJ is very telling. It's here for a reason as we continue to expand opportunities in this great state, and a lot of desire of folks outside of this state to move here. The in-migration coming to Colorado is significant. Farming and ag, our rural roots, and how important that is. It's one of our key trading industry sectors here. We certainly on the Eastern Plains have a strong, robust ag and farming community, and how important it is as we continue to do what I like to do 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, eat. So we're going to celebrate some of those.
3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
You know, first lunch, second lunch, first breakfast. Our financial services in Colorado has become a very strong player in the financial services industry. Our government and economic development leaders, health and wellness, and people forget that's such a key player, and certainly one of our big headquartered BRT companies, DaVita. Hospitality and tourism, again, another key driver here in this state. Colorado, the beauty and the opportunities through our national park systems. There is so much to do here to be able to outdoor, in the recreation areas, tourism, hiking, biking, camping, fishing, all those things that I probably don't do, but many are interested in doing. The manufacturing industry and our partnerships with CAMA and Manufacturers Edge. Tom Bugnet's certainly been on here several times. And as we continue to focus on, the importance of technology and so many great companies, AT&T, IBM, and others in here, and how important innovative AI technology, the fourth industrial revolution. There's an amazing, and Colorado's at the epicenter for a lot of those activities and advancements. We're excited. So we're going to celebrate 12 incredible winners, 38 nominated or finalists, and over 50 or 60 companies that were nominated. We're so excited to celebrate with them.
We are excited. That's coming up December 7th. Check out COBRT.com on the events page. We will be back with more with Jeff Wasden talking about the Collaboration and Industry Awards coming up. We're so glad you're staying with us today for Connect and Collaborate. And we've, all for the past couple of weeks been talking with nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards. Today I'm talking with Jeff Wasden, president of the Colorado Business Roundtable. How you feeling? You're coming down to the wire here.
I'm excited, but you know what? It's been interesting just kind of sitting back as you do a first-time event, and everyone says how challenging and how hard it is to get those going. I remember doing golf tournaments in the first year. You kind of get 60, 70 golfers, and then it gets to 90, and then 100 and something, and finally by year 4, you sell out. By the time this airs, we're probably going to be completely sold out. We're excited about that. There has been an incredible demand, not only from the corporate world to sponsor, but ticket sales, table purchases, and sponsorships from companies that are excited to be there to celebrate those that they nominated or themselves that were nominated in this great award.
Well, then that's a question I have, because there's different awards going around for different accomplishments, for different categories throughout the state, and, what makes another award presentation exciting? People really are excited about this.
Yeah, to watch the kind of the excitement and through email and talking with folks that have been nominated, that were selected as a finalist. And it's interesting, that process, right, that we went through. Obviously, we did not want to put ourselves in that position. One of the things that people know about me is I try and bet 100% on everybody loves Jeff. So I didn't want to be the guy having to make these tough decisions. And let me tell you, the decision process was incredibly challenging as I was looking through all these companies and organizations that were nominated.
Well, and I love the focus of that it's the collaboration in industry, and to have so many examples where industries, whether it's cross industries or within the same industry, that they really are making these collaborative efforts to work together to make Colorado better.
Oh my good, company after company, cities that came together to
Genuine
work
examples,
together
right?
on tourism. I remember one of the outdoor retailers and manufacturers and clothing goods that had 150 companies come together again to say, let's work together on a problem of sustainability and
the OIA Sustainability Working Group with the outdoor manufacturers.
And you've been able to chat with all of these
So
companies over
fascinating.
time and just watch these ideas that say, hey, you know what, why don't I pick up the phone and go talk to one of our competitors and figure out ways that we can
we do this
collaborate and
together?
work together and come to the table, understanding, yes, that we're still in business and we
we're
still
still
have to worry
competitors.
about our bottom line and
Yeah.
our employees and making ends meet and those challenges of being a business owner. But maybe collectively we can do more together. I remember it's one of those quotes from Thomas Dahlkamp that says, the secret is to gang up on the problem rather than on each other.
I like that.
And you kind of look at that, and kind of fitting in today's political time,
Sure.
maybe a little
Well.
bit, right? That we kind of throw a lot of grenades at each other. But the ability to sit down and gang up on a problem and attack an issue, whether it's tax reform or immigration, whether it's workforce, the things that the Colorado Business Roundtable is fighting for Colorado workers and business owners, business leaders, organizations, and chambers each and every day to try and improve this business climate. And we're going to celebrate those as we come together.
Yeah.
And that's what's so exciting.
Well, and we have so many examples of that. Like, for example, the ADAPT Center, that is for the additive manufacturing industry. In manufacturing, here's these really expensive additive printing machines. I don't know what to call them. Printers. I'm not a manufacturer.
Thank goodness.
Where you're devoting, yes. Well, but you don't want me to make you things like that. That's why we leave it to the professionals. But no, where you're investing millions of dollars on something that they didn't quite understand. How are you going to move forward on this? How is it going to be feasible and viable? And so the ADAPT Center comes together and says, we'll work all that out together, and then you we'll help you manufacture what you need to do.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
the sum of all the parts individually
Right.
coming together, right, and getting, again, folks rowing in the
Tackling the
right direction,
problem, like you
tackling the
said.
problem. And I think as you look at all of the companies that were nominated and then drilling it down into those 38 finalists and then ultimately the selection to get to where we are, we sent that to some independent folks, again, outside of the COBRT team. And first and foremost, let me thank those three judges for their work in going through and making those tough decisions so we didn't have to. And we are going to, I think, really have an opportunity to kind of come together and celebrate that day in a way that really highlights not just the winner, right? And we focus a lot on winners in this country, the winners of Super Bowls, the winners of elections, and sometimes forget the others that were competing, that were challenging, that took the risk, that put their name on an election, that really fought for a prize, an award, a trophy, a game, a competition. These opportunities to come together and just thank Coloradoans, to thank industry leaders, to thank business leaders for really understanding the power of collaboration and reach and working together and what that means is really what we're more excited about. And it's going to be an emotional day. It's going to be an inspirational day, I think, as we really come together and celebrate those. The idea kind of is easy to kind of in your own thought process about, hey, let's have this opportunity. Let's do some awards. Let's thank some people. There's some great leaders. We are so blessed at the Colorado Business Roundtable to work with so many great associations and chamber and business leaders. It is something that gives me such great joy and pride each and every day. It's what motivates me, to continue to work hard when you get the chance to really work side by side with some of these great inspirational leaders that I look up to, that I think are so powerful and impactful, and it pushes me to be a better person here as well. And our ability to thank them at this day on collaboration is great. So we came together thinking, well, how many people? What are we going to sell? What kind of tickets? What kind of interest is there going to be? And so we really thought, well, let's do it nice. Let's go to the History Colorado, a venue that we use several times. We had our view from the top. We're having our governor forums there. We're going to have State of Higher Ed at that place. It's a phenomenal venue. And they were so excited to host this, and then we blew by their capacity
pretty quickly.
So I apologize for those that thought we were going to History Colorado. We did change that. We're going to the Cable Center now. And again, as I mentioned, this will sell out. So
yes, and then you've reached that capacity as well.
Yeah, and I had a conversation yesterday with some of our team, and they weren't happy with me when I thought, well, what about another venue chain?
Oh, this close?
Yeah, no, let's just say,
we're just going to have to draw the line somewhere.
There were things thrown in the room, let me just say that. And
I doubt that.
Luckily, the movie Dodgeball, where you're dodging wrenches and pliers and hammers. I was quick. I got out of the way. We will not move that, so if you didn't get your ticket, look at the pictures, check the newsletter. You can live vicariously through us.
But that tells me it's going to be a great event because, Cable Center is a really neat venue to begin with, and they've got quite a bit of room. It is. So if people are interested, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no, we're so excited about that. They're going to really take care of us. We've got a great a couple days of events, right? And so some of our great sponsors and VIPs and Inner Circle members are going to have some different opportunities. There'll be a VIP celebration and reception beforehand. The night before, we're going to have kind of a special dinner with the governor and with Jim Clifton, the CEO of Gallup, and we're going to talk more about Gallup and Jim Clifton and coming jobs war and who's going to be at the event and speaking and talking that day along with Jackie Hinman. But we'll have some great opportunities. We're going to have about 150 or 160 autographed books for our table sponsors and for our nominees. For our sponsors, and then maybe just a couple that we'll fling out in the audience as well. See how good they are at dodging.
You're just going to fling these books out into the audience. That's great. Okay, everybody bring your baseball mitts.
Yeah, there's a good idea.
Or whatever.
Net. Big old fishing net, that would be good. But, this is one of those opportunities that as we sit back, we're so thankful again for the reception that people believe in us, that that people are willing to work with the Colorado Business Roundtable and understand ultimately what we're trying to accomplish and why collaboration and partnerships are so important to this state. And it really starts from the top, right?
Yes.
You can really look at the governor of Colorado as someone who really understands why collaboration matters. You look at his background, his history, as he likes to say, a failed geologist that went into the brew pub business. And he tells stories about walking up and down the streets of Denver, going to competitors and talking about, look, it's just not about us fighting for each other's business down here. Why don't we create an environment, a culture where the area is celebrated, not just our particular piece of our residence or business. Collectively, let's work on how we brown lower downtown and how we build an ecosystem for folks to come to the Denver area and spend dollars. If it's in our place, great, but if it's in yours, we all still collectively win. That rising tide lifts all boats mentality. That's Governor Hickenlooper. We're honored to have him speaking there because he's really set the stage within this state of why collaboration is important and modeled it, right? And really not only talked it but walked it. And that's so important from a leadership perspective to be willing to engage in there and step up and show and model that kind of behavior. And I think the businesses, the trade association, chamber, writ large, have all embraced that mentality. And we're so excited to tell you in this next segment a little bit more about the awards, what we're trying to do, who Gallup, who Jim Clifton is, what he's going to be talking about, and some of the other speakers.
So this is all coming up December 7th. We're having the Colorado Business Roundtables putting on the Collaboration in Industry Awards, and I think it's just such a fantastic event to be able to recognize all these industries, what they're doing to work together to make business better, to make Colorado better. I'm talking with Jeff Wasden, and we'll be back with more right after this break here on Connect and Collaborate.
What's up with Wasden?
Thanks so much for staying with us today on Connect and Collaborate. And we're talking about our upcoming Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and Jeff Wasden, president of the Colorado Business Roundtable, is here. Hi, Jeff.
How you doing? It's so great to be talking about this Collaboration Industry Awards, and I can't tell you how excited not only we are, but the attendees and the nominees are to come together and celebrate December 7th. It's going to be here right around the corner. We're so excited. The philosophy, the idea behind the Colorado Business Roundtable is really this Soga Social, this alignment, this bringing together folks that normally would be in competition with each other and helping us kind of understand, again, patterned after our governor and his great leadership around collaboration, why this matters, why it's so important. I'm reminded of that Golda Meir quote that says, "I never did anything alone. Whatever we accomplish in this country, we accomplish collectively." And this is what we're doing. We're going to collectively come together and celebrate these great champions in collaboration on this day. And so
yes,
we're excited.
It is very exciting to recognize 12 different industries that are vital to Colorado's economy. And you've got 3 to 4 nominees in each one of those categories. So there's your pile of people already. You're bringing all these people together, Jeff.
38 finalists. It's so exciting.
And how are we going to entertain them?
Well, I'm going to entertain them. Because we're gonna sing, we're gonna dance, we're gonna do a little karaoke.
No.
Okay.
I won't let you.
Okay. Thank
Sorry.
you.
And I think there's several other people here in this office that won't let you as well.
I think everybody will thank you for not letting me do that. We've got a lineup of J's. I was just kind of going through here. So we're going to start off with Jackie Hinman, our CEO of CH2M, one of our great headquartered business roundtable companies here in Colorado. She's actually flying back from D.C. from the Business Roundtable board meeting and is going to kind of share some BRT updates with the attendees that day. Straight from Jackie Hinman, a wonderful CEO and a great leader here in Colorado. We're going right to Governor John Hickenlooper that will then talk again about the power of collaboration and why this is so important and the successes that we've seen in Colorado working collectively together.
Well, and I think that's fantastic because Governor Hickenlooper really has been an advocate of collaboration throughout the state, through so many of whether it's government agencies or the different industries, we can work together to make this place better.
Example after example, and he's going to share some of those, and we're going to certainly award and celebrate some of those. Then we're going to have a chance to hear from Jim Clifton, the CEO of Gallup. And for those that are not familiar with Gallup and what Gallup means, maybe you may have heard the presidential polling, right? And that was really how Gallup gained a lot of their national recognition, was around the polling and the presidential elections that went on. Really what their expertise is, though, is the data and insights on the attitudes and behaviors of employees, customers, students, and citizens. And they have more of that than any other organization in the entire world. When you look at what they do with that data, because that's great, so you collect a bunch, how do you deal with that? Well, they empower you to use that data for real transformation, analytics, advice, providing leaders with a roadmap for understanding and unlocking the real potential of individuals, teams, and organizations. And that's Gallup. And so we've had an incredible opportunity to work with Gallup. They've been involved with our Western Pathways Conference, again, a collaborative effort of bringing state teams together and governors and national partners and organizations to work on one of the areas that we're celebrating, which is education and workforce, and how important that is, and why that's one of our final categories. But
so you've got your list of J's there: Jackie Hinman, John Hickenlooper, Jim Clifton. Now what?
And Jeff, and then the awards, and then we're going to celebrate.
Jeff
but I do want to leave to talk a little bit about one of Jim Clifton's books that he is so well known for. And one of the things that we're going to have there for many of the attendees, which is the coming jobs war. When you look at the battle for competition, for talent, for business, being in business is challenging. The cost of doing business, the amount of competition, the regulations, the paperwork, the taxing structures that's there, energy costs, goods, labor. We're in a very competitive environment that's now global by nature. When you look at the coming jobs war and what Jim Clifton really kind of drilled down to, it's how important community leaders are, whether it's city leaders, county leaders, state leaders, or national leaders, to really focus on creating good jobs, right? When you really talk about the importance of a job, as jobs go, so the fate of nations go. The countries, again, with the outstanding economic development, that are innovative, the creative, that are pushing the needle through technology, through goods and services, through efficiencies, those are the states that you can see continuing to rise to the top in the economic factors. Those jobs bring prosperity, they bring human development, and they really continue to focus on the impact on the local economies that jobs and technology and employment offers, not only to you, to your family, which is so important as you continue to try and make sure that there's food on the table, that you have a chance to go to vacation once in a while, that you can provide for college educational opportunities, that you can put a little money away for retirement, all critically important. But all of those things come together when you talk about the ecosystem of a community as you continue to go out and purchase cars and computers and technology, food, clothing, school supplies, and what that means as you look at the induced jobs and the economic development, the ripple and the multiplier effect. And so he really looks at all of those areas about why it matters, how depressed workforces, unemployment can ruin lives in cities and countries, and really talks about why, if you only do one thing as a leader, and that's really to focus on workforce and economic development and jobs, then you've done the right thing, not only by you, but certainly by the community and the people that live there that were relying upon you and your leadership. And so we're going to hear from Jim, and he's going to share some of those insights. And he is an incredible, internationally sought-after speaker that we're so honored to be able to bring here. I remember Governor Engler, one of our earlier, Governor Engler, who ran the Business Roundtable, former governor of Michigan for many years, he said the states with the best schools win. And you start to think about how that ties into the BRT's focus on jobs and focus on workforce and education, and then our ability to bring Jim Clifton, the CEO of Gallup, to talk about what you do with all of that and why it's so important. So we're excited about that. And then the awards. So we're going to hand out. And we've kind of teased a little bit that even the awards is a collaborative process.
It really is. I'm so excited to see them in reality.
Oh my goodness.
We've seen the design.
We've seen a design. A couple of our team have actually been over there, and it started out, and this is really.
And when you say over there, that's the collaboration.
This is that collaboration. So we have the Center for Advanced Manufacturing from the Community College of Denver, and this idea, they had an incredible opening of that event where they brought out the Vice President, Joe Biden, the Governor, the Mayor, several business leaders to celebrate this incredible collaborative manufacturing, design, and technology, and what it would mean for kids as we look at those career tech ed type jobs, what we used to call voc ed, and why that was so important. We put them to work in creating and actually doing the awards for us, and it was so fun. Our first meeting, in comes President Everett Friedman, right? The president of Community College of Denver. And I think it kind of shook, some people were like, oh my goodness, what is the president? But it speaks to him, his nature of willingness to work to support this. They had 6 people in that room that sat together that talked about all the different areas within that advanced manufacturing center that were going to work on this particular project. What was so neat is when Tim and Lisa went over to see the center after the initial meetings, they actually had several students that were working on the project when they walked in there that had things on the screens that were mapping out the design and the cutting, because again, you've got a base, you're doing engraving, the plaques, the embossing, the metal, the cutting, the fabrication work that goes into that. So the awards is a example of collaboration in and amongst itself, and then we're going to hand out 12 incredible companies and industries that have been recognized as the top in their industry.
Well, and that's what I love about the award too, is that you say, sure, it's a plaque with engraving and everything, but it is unlike any award that people just get handed. This is so cool. Just come just to see the award, if you ask me. We'll be right back with more with Jeff Wasden as we talk about the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards coming up December 7th. Stay with us for more.
We're so glad you're staying with us today as we talk about the nominees for the Collaboration in Industry Awards with the Colorado Business Roundtable. I'm Jeff Wasden, not your host, and today we're talking with Tammy Schaefer, your host, about the Collaboration Awards. And the reason we're kind of flipping the script a little bit, Tammy, is you've actually had the opportunity to sit down over the past several weeks, and again several over the next week or two as we lead into the December 7th date, to actually bring these finalists on air and talk to them individually about their company and their focus and ways that they've been so collaborative and why they were nominated for this award. So we're going to spend this last segment, this last 10 minutes, really kind of talking about some of the highlights, some of what got you excited to hear from some of those. So let's just jump into a couple categories. Let's start with education workforce. Who have you talked to? What was exciting as you kind of listened to that particular category and those folks?
Yes, Jeff, we talked with the Alliance for the Development of Additive Processing Technology. We just call them ADAPT. It's a little easier to spell out.
Good call. Good call.
And it's such a great program where the School of Mines came together, I think, with Wasden Tools and other manufacturers in that entire industry to kind of tackle additive processing technology, which, as we mentioned earlier, you've got these incredibly expensive, additive printers, and how do they first of all tackle that, because each company can't throw millions of dollars at this while they're figuring it out. So ADAPT has kind of figured it out and worked together.
It's a significant capital investment for a company, and then you've got to have the labor and the skill set.
And who do you
to
hire
be able
who
to
knows
use
how
that.
to run it and use it and apply it to whatever it is you're manufacturing? So this has been I think a wonderful collaboration to bring that information and bring that technology to the manufacturers who are going to use it, and do it in a way that not every single company has to be put out.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Another one you talked to was Colorado Succeeds.
Yes, and they're collaborating with everybody. They're fantastic.
Well, it's interesting. They just announced a couple programs, and they certainly had their first awards where they actually gave out $15,000-$20,000 to teachers and programs that were exceptional in education. But Colorado Succeeds has a group called Biz Cares for education, which they bring business leaders from across so many sectors, from energy, from aerospace, from technology, from the Chamber Trade Association world, and talk about why education workforce, why getting that trained, talent pipeline is so critical for business that can't wait to onboard and upskill and retrain and do remedial education and training with these workers. It is so important that we have a good, solid education system that's really producing the right kind of talent. We're actually got a big group going to Tennessee. There's about 30 of us that are heading out with Colorado Succeeds to talk about apprenticeships and education systems and CTE. So we're excited. So it's great for them. Let's go energy. Who have you talked to in energy that's up?
Energy, of course, we talked with Vital for Colorado. We have a great relationship with them. Peter Moore comes on our show, Connect and Collaborate, 2 times a month, 2 Fridays a month, to talk about that collaboration, which is pulling together this board of directors from different companies, different industries that all recognize how important the energy industry is to Colorado's economy and for that energy future.
Yeah, and it's been so neat to be on that board and again see those leaders from a diverse set of industries come together to say, look, I come from a different background. There's farming and ag in there. There's construction in there. It's just as important that they recognize and support that industry as it is their own. And that's where the spirit of this whole award really comes from and why that matters. I had an opportunity last week to go down to Colorado Springs with Bob Golden, another one of our Vital board members and treasurer of Vital, to really look at a program called the Bighorn Leadership. It's a program coming out of Vital where they're bringing citizens together, community leaders together, to talk about and educate them on energy issues. And again, you just look at that, of them bringing folks from across the state together in a training leadership program. A perfect example of what we're trying to do here.
Well, and similarly, also in the energy category, we talked with Denver Petroleum Club and the CU Denver Global Energy Management Program, where they're coming together to teach anybody from any industry that if they want to know more, learn more about where energy comes from, what kind of investments we put into it, you know, how it's going to move forward. So a similar mission of just, you know, making sure everybody knows just what are we dealing with.
Education, awareness, right? That is so important on any policy issue, is to really make sure people get the right facts, the right information, that you come at it from data, from grounded in science and facts, because there's a lot of misinformation.
Sure, because it's a great idea to move to renewable energy sources, but you can't do it overnight. So there's a lot you need to understand in between.
Right, yeah, why they all have an important play in creating the good, sustainable energy dependent and efficiencies here that we rely on in this state, that not only our businesses but homeowners that can rely on, that's safe and clean. And that's important for all of us to understand. You know, in the financial services category, it's fun to see several folks in there. The ACG, I just had their luncheon where they brought in 30 folks from, again, across the industry, a leadership group, to talk about why this matters and how we can work together and share best practices and ideas and magnify strengths. First Bank, that was one of our initial early sponsors of our Brave Leaders series.
Right, and we talked with First Bank, and you know, they're a great example, I think, because I think they're really visible in how they work with the community and participate in community, you know, events, involvement, I mean to say. And the Colorado Gives Day is a great example of that. That's,
oh my goodness, that match that they do, and the
right,
investment
they do the match. They put the investment
community.
into making that, along with Community First Foundation, making that online tool to be able to donate like that, you know. And we also talked with JP Morgan Chase.
Oh my goodness, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, who's the chair of the board for the Business Roundtable in DC, and what a strong, powerful leader. He actually came out to Denver for the Denver Scholarship to help support that organization. Again, not only the talent, the workforce, and the importance of that, but to talk about their mission and what they're doing at JP Morgan. What about in manufacturing? We've talked a little bit about manufacturing. Who's up in that category?
You know, we've so far been able to talk with Wasden Tool and the OIA Sustainability Working Group. The OIA Sustainability Working Group we talked about briefly earlier, where they're all of this outdoor manufacturing industry coming together to help solve whatever issues they need when it comes to, you know, are the chemicals they're using to make something waterproof, are they sustainable? Are they hurting anything?
Environmentally friendly.
Environmentally friendly. You know, and where they put those resources together, where they can you know, share the research and still keep their proprietary, you know, discoveries and products. And then also we talked with Wasden Tool with Heidi Hostetter and Alicia Svaldi, and they're fantastic.
Oh my goodness, they're fantastic. They're so excited about the
award.
They
also worked with that ADAPT program. They're so excited about the award that Heidi actually said, like, we better win. We're not getting a table of people down there.
Oh, a little pressure. See, that's why I didn't judge. That's exactly the reason.
Is exactly why I pointed out that, no, we sent those off to be tabulated by someone else, so it's not up to us to decide who wins. But, you know, everybody's so deserving.
Well, you know, when you look at the other, you know, nominees in that category, Ball Corp, Ball Aerospace, which is another great BRT headquartered company here, and John Hayes, and what he means to not only his employees and the communities that Ball operates in, but to the Business Roundtable and to the Colorado Business Roundtable. He's just an incredible leader, such a model. You talk to anybody, employee at Ball, and they're so happy to work for him, and they just revere him and his leadership style. Technology, I could go on and on. You know, when you look at that.
The Center for Technology Research and Commercialization, known as CTRAC. So they're working on the Catalyst campus to help small businesses connect themselves with those bigger, you know, industries, space systems, the military, wherever they're going to help make these technologies work and kind of get them off the ground.
Colorado Technology, you've got IBM, some incredible companies that we're so honored to work with. We're going to run out of time here. In aerospace, you've got Lockheed Martin, a great business roundtable company, the Space Foundation, USAF. I could get into tourism and engineering and hospitality. We're out of time.
Jeff,
you got to come to the awards. Got to come to the awards.
I want to mention tourism and outdoor recreation, where the Colorado Tourism Office and Tourism Industry is nominated, but they nominated the historic Hot Springs Loop. What an example of collaboration.
Yeah, and they've been
Fantastic.
great to work with, and it's such an important industry in our state as so many people want to come here to Colorado. We're so excited. We're looking forward to joining and celebrating with each of you on December 7th.
Yes, and you know what I've loved about all of these interviews is really getting that information out there. We know there's so many wonderful industries and businesses here in the state, and the way that they're collaborating, but to hear their actual stories and make it a little more tangible for each of us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. We'll see you on the 7th.
You're good to...
That's correct.